Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Cardano ADA update. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Cardano ADA technical analysis, where I'll be sharing my short to medium term Cardano price predictions. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button, guys. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, why don't you consider subscribing and staying up to date with all the content that we put out here at Cheeky Crypto. Let's kick things off with this chart right here. This is Cardano's ADA paired up with USDT on the 1-day Binance chart. Now, as we were predicting out, we were looking for moves to the downside. We were looking and targeting out anywhere really between 39.96 and 41.29. And well, yesterday we saw a move down to the 40 cents exactly, indicating that our targeted range has been hit. However, there is still a possibility for further slippage to the downside for Cardano at the moment, where we do see here the idea of moving more towards 38.77 and 40.89. Now, nothing is a guarantee because we've already met those minimum expectations in that slightly higher range. But should we see more negativity in the crypto space, more selling pressure from Bitcoin, Ethereum, then we are likely to see the other altcoins such as Cardano also start to sell off. And so we still have potential here for dollar cost averaging. Now, I do want to stress that this is a prime area for great dollar cost averaging opportunities should you want to do so. But do bear in mind, I am no financial advisor and I cannot give you financial advice. All I can do is share my thoughts and opinions in the data in the charts as I personally see it. And to me, anywhere between 40 and 38 cents right now seems like a prime area for great dollar cost averaging. Now, there is the potential for a relief rally at this stage, where I do see us moving up a little ways more towards the 50-day simple moving average and 50-day exponential moving average, as I was previously talking about over on the 7th of June. If you haven't checked that video out, you should go ahead and check it out. I'll try to link it in on one of the cards just here. Now, when it comes to Cardano's relief rally, it will be pretty significant, but don't expect the world. For example, if we take our existing low, we'll be looking probably at around 10 or so %, after which I would expect more selling pressure to mount and another move to the downside, where I do think we're likely to find the local bottom for this correction to be somewhere in the range of 33.83 and 37.49 cents. This is where I think we are then going to really start the next big run for Cardano to the upside. That will be a great place for great dollar cost averaging. Again, it's all about slowly building those positions rather than going all in 100x kind of degen moves, but all about building those positions gradually over time, hence dollar cost average. So when we take a look at Cardano here, we can see that this is a great ranging market that we've finally broken down from, and we will be looking at moving down a little bit more. Anything lower than 1.618 that I've marked up on this chart right here at 38.65 will be seen as a more bearish movement. And that particular bearish structure could be a diagonal ending pattern that could then mean that we end up with a relief rally significantly higher, heading more towards 55-60 cents before we actually then start another move to the downside under a big three-wave correction. This would be looking something to this effect like so. And in that particular case, we will be having a very aggressive sell-off for Cardano. But one of the things that I do want to kind of stress here is that we already have a fantastic pattern emerging on the Cardano chart. This was a 5-wave move from the lows that we saw over in June 2023. Now, if I am right about where I think things are heading for Cardano, that this correction that we will see here, this big 3-wave correction taking us down deeper, is very much would mirror what was going on here from the peak of the 14th of July down to the lows that we saw on the 17th of August and 11th of September 2023. This correction was pretty deep for Cardano. It was a correction of 36, actually it's a little bit less than that, it's 37.25%. Okay, we saw this great run to the upside and we retraced the majority of it on the way down. For example, this one here came down to 88.2% of that move to the upside. The reason that I bring this up now is because we have this 5-wave pattern emerge to the upside. A 3-wave correction is kind of what we saw over here and is pretty much what you would expect after a 5-wave run up. Now, If we have another 5 waves after this, which is highly likely, in fact, it's a kind of a guarantee if you follow Elliott wave theory, that there will be a 5-wave move out of this particular area. The only question I have is whether or not this is actually going to be a wave 3 or a wave B or C, for example. In fact, a wave C. So under a kind of A, B, C structure, we'd have a pretty lackluster pump. Maybe we would target out, in and around that area of 80 cents to $1.50, somewhere in that kind of range, right? But I think for the most part, we think we're actually going to be tracking a big wave 1 here. All of this correction that we're currently in is the wave 2, and we have a fantastic wave 3, correction for a wave 4, and then up into a wave 5, indicating that we'll have another 5-wave move coming up into that range, and then another 3-wave followed by an additional 5-wave pattern. This is pretty standard Elliott wave theory stuff if you understand what I'm talking about and degrees in which we nest down these structures. But for the most part, we can see that this correction that we're currently in, if we do come down into those kind of lower ranges where we could talk about sub 30 cents, well, that there in itself isn't terrible because it would put us right in line with what a typical wave 2 would be doing, and that wave 2 would typically be between 50 and 88.2% of the correction to the of what happened to the upside. So the pump to the upside here, this 5-wave pattern from the lows of June 2023 to the peaks of March 2024, a 50 to 88.2% correction. That would basically put us into this area of 25.6 to 42 cents. We've already met the minimum expectations on the wave 2, but if we were to see a bigger 3-wave correction, it's right in line with our expectations of what already happened previously and what typically happens within wave 2 structures. In a kind of roundabout way, guys, we want this to go deeper because that means that we have an easier time of hitting 1.618 and triggering impulsive moves to the upside, where we can then talk about the wave 3 kind of coming up into the range between $5.34 and $12.71. This is really where we think we're likely to see the next kind of big surges for Cardano's ADA. And of course, where we can talk about the potential for that continuation and there's continued runs up towards, $20, $30 or something to that effect. For the most part, though, I think if we do find ourselves on a $5.60 run up, then our higher expectations will be around $10. I wouldn't expect us to exceed that unless something fantastic happens with Cardano as a kind of fundamental kind of process. But guys, as you can kind of see, there's a real clear path for Cardano's ADA. It's well structured out and it's documenting the behavior of the investors that are buying and selling Cardano in the price action. You can let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you want to know a little bit more about Elliott wave theory? If so, join us down in our Discord server. There's plenty of resources available for people to understand what I'm talking about in a little more detail. And if you have found today's video useful, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't done so yet, click this video and check out what's going on with some of the other projects in the crypto space.